Howdy, y'all. Rogue Jedi Meech here from the future. So unfortunately, when we were recording this, we missed a very crucial announcement, one that's going to change the landscape of gaming forever, and I am deeply ashamed to have missed it. Well, no better way than to rectify our mistakes than a post edit. So here we go. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4 confirmed. It's been announced, baby. Oh, oh no, after 16 years. Do you understand how much this means to me? I have been playing that game for decades. Well, it feels like decades because, as you know, that game had every character in there, or nearly every character. I'm gonna need Budokai Tenkaichi 4 to have every single character. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super in that joint. Heck, you can even put some Xenoverse characters in there too. You know what? Yeah, let's just go ahead and make Xenoverse extinct. Make fighters extinct because Budokai Tenkaichi 4 is gonna run roughshod on everything. You don't understand the tournaments to be had. It's going to be legendary. All the joysticks I'm about to destroy for those beam clashes is gonna be everything. I'm whooping everybody. And that is all we have to say. Well, back to our regularly scheduled program. All right, class, we are here. We're here. It's been far too long, y'all. It's been far too long. So, what happened? Like where have you been on this spring break?
Oh, it was good. I got on an undisclosed vehicle, went to an undisclosed location with some undisclosed friends and had a really good time. That way I could be out of sights of any residual hate that we got from our March Madness tournament.
Uh,
But it was good. I was definitely chilling. Came
uh,
back with a cold, but I'm good.
Perfect, perfect. Minus the cold part, but hey, don't worry. In that week, I've been training, I've been grinding, and now nobody can stop me. I finally learned Avada Kedavra.
Ooh.
I finally learned it in real life. So turns out it's actually a lot simpler than you think. All it requires is just a hollow point bullet, and you know where to go.
Speaking of which, now that you mentioned that spell, it's been too long. We haven't mentioned it. I was going to save it for what's hot, but is Hogwarts taken over yet? How is your conquest?
My conquest has gone beyond Hogwarts.
Ooh.
Oh no, the entire world is now on my hit list. So in any case, I'm Demetrius,
And I'm Demetrius,
and Meech and Meech presents.
the Blurred City Podcast.
All right, so we have a pretty nice episode. I know we took like a good break for a week because vacation and all that fun jazz, but we're back and there's a lot going on this week. But for today's fine episode, and as you could guess from the title, we're going to be doing our review of Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods.
Mhm.
But so it's going to be a wild ride. We're going to get into all the chicanery that was this movie. But before that, I got to hit you up with the usual, that legal spiegel. So, the purpose of this podcast is to explore digital and print media. All sources we reference are owned by their respective companies, and our thoughts and opinions are strictly our own and reflect no biases or corporate agendas whatsoever. So, your discretion is advised.
So as we like to kick it off, we've been gone for a very, very long time. As of this Saturday, March 18th, that we're recording, we have a very lengthy What's Hot each. So we got to speed run it. What do you got?
All right, so I already put them all into categories. So, category one, anime. We got One Piece, which was on hiatus because we had to let the boys rest after cooking. Blue Lock gone crazy, going nuts right now, going stupid. The My Hero Dark Deku arc. I'm still in love with it.
Mhm.
Still love it, and not that I'm looking at it in your background, it kind of that poster on the wall kind of looked like Dark Deku for like 3 seconds. I'm like, hold up, when did you get that? But yeah, Tokyo Revengers looks like that arc just about ended,
Mhm.
and whew,
Tokyo
uh,
CTE.
right? And then apparently Boruto's going crazy right now, at
I
least
heard
in
it
the
went on
manga.
hiatus. Yeah, that's what I heard too. I heard that too.
Apparently in the manga, Boruto going crazy,
It
and
finally reached the time skip, is what I heard.
yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know how to feel, considering the anime's been trash. But speaking of, as you mentioned, the anime went on hiatus, so they brought back the OG Naruto for like 4 new episodes that's gonna drop.
Mm,
And I'm just like, oh, okay. And then they also just released the trailer for the new Pokemon anime with our
mm.
new protagonists. So Ash Ketchum's time is swiftly coming to an end, and you know it's gonna be a swift coming to the end because in this previous episode, Team Rocket broke up.
I saw that. I was devastated.
I and I have never almost cried as hard as I did watching the villains break up.
Mm.
But yeah, that's everything going on anime wise. I'm pretty sure there's a few things I'm missing there because it's been a whole week. So, but then comics wise, we got ourselves Vanish #5. If you're part of the KLC group, you should have been able to read that fifth issue. It's finally back. But by the time you're hearing this episode, it should be released in stores now. So boom, go grab your copy of that. Also, another comic had actually just dropped from a very new Canadian comic book company called Dream Key Comics, and the title is Death Shroud. Death Shroud is a very, very new, and fortunately, I know one of the guys, Chad Larson, and he sent me an advanced copy of the issue #1.
Mm.
All connections through KLC Press. Again, join the Discord. You'll get to learn about all these fancy people. Okay, the Miles Morales comic going stupid. Venom's actually gotten a slightly better. King Spawn still going crazy, and then a new sleeper that just came out, Red Goblin.
Mm.
That is going dummy for these 2 issues, and I'm liking it.
I heard
And
Carnage got something that you like.
oh yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Carnage. Let's talk about Carnage for a bit, because firstly, Carnage is out here on a war path, right? And in anticipation for this summer, which is the summer of symbiotes, we have a few events that are about to drop off. So, firstly, we have the Venomverse, or should I say, the end of the Venomverse, because Carnage is coming after it. We got the Carnage Rain crossover with our boy Miles and Red Goblin, and then you got let's see what else is in the summer of symbiotes. Actually, I feel like those are the primary two. But there's like other like ancillary just symbiote stuff that's going on. So hey, we're eating in the symbiote world. But now let's go into the TV realm,
Hmm.
right? So we got Mandalorian going stupid. Though apparently people are not liking the third episode. Well, I can
Yes.
no, well, we'll save that for later. You got Bad Batch,
Mm-hmm.
which Dave Filoni directed that last episode. I'm like, from Diddlyumptious. And then April 19th, they are on Netflix. They are releasing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always special, celebrating the 30th anniversary of that franchise. And of course, I'm gonna watch it because I grew up on it, and like a lot of the OGs have came back for it. RIP Toy Train, RIP Jason David Frank. So just shout out to them. And then speaking of Netflix, I've been actually in my hiatus. I binged a whole new show. Or it technically it isn't new, but I just became privy to it. It's called You. And oh, I binged the first 3 seasons in like a few days.
Oh boy.
So let's just say I found a new kinship with Joe Goldberg.
Oh my.
Let's just say I am on his wavelength. And if you watch that show and you know what it means, then I'm not sorry. But yeah, so I love the first three seasons, and I'm currently watching the fourth one right now. Um, and then also another thing that I'm also watching is Bel Air season two,
Mhm.
because Bel Air is back, and it's just like that first season. Like it's what you think you know, but dramatized a bit more. There's a bit more drama in there because of everything that happened in season one, and you can feel the tension there. And then now let's pivot a bit to the movie scene. You got ourselves Scream 6, which dropped. I was there day zero. And if you can guess by my personality right now, I love me scary movies. Um and and to say that I'm about to no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not about to get us canceled from our hiatus. All right. And the next thing is of course Cocaine Bear, which that was exactly how I wanted it to be. And then and as you guys know, the Oscars went down in our hiatus, and you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Everything
Angela
everywhere at
Bassett.
once, cleaned up everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and Angela Bassett, my queen. We know you got robbed. We know you did.
I will say this because I talked about like in our very first like pre-recorded episode on our Patreon, we talked about everything everywhere all at once. I will say if it the supporting actor went to Stephanie Shu, who played like Joy in the
Yep.
movie, there would be a real argument between her and Angela Bassett. But we love our girl Jamie Lee Curtis,
Oh
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
do think Angela Bassett compared should have won. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's nothing. Like I'm not knocking down Jamie Lee at all. Again, I'm all for it. She my scream queen. No, Halloween is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite franchises. So like I support my girl. But Angela Bassett played her soul out in Wakanda Forever. She played her soul out. She had me in tears in that movie, and this ain't the first time she got robbed from an Oscar for that movie, and you just see the pain on her face when it was now she didn't win. But shout outs to Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan for pulling that hey auntie and basically giving her the support and care in that moment. Also, Andrew Garfield is now a new meme, and
As usual.
as usual, I love me Spidey. I love you, Spidey. And then of course, game wise, yeah, and then finally, game wise, Hogwarts Legacy, of course, going stupid, and then Jedi Survivor is gonna drop in the next month. Uh, but yeah, that's oh yeah, and then yeah, and that's all I had in terms of my what's hot.
All right. So quickly for me, Last of Us season one ended
Oh
based on the
yeah,
game.
yeah,
I wonder how they're gonna handle season two. Obviously, Shazam Fury of the Gods, going with that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Literally the trailer dropped after we recorded before our hiatus. So that's gonna be interesting. Little Mermaid trailer drop. March Madness is going crazy,
yes,
insane.
sir.
Ted Lasso has returned for season three, which I'm super excited about. Something you'll be excited about, and maybe if we do a season three, we can talk about. I'm starting to read Bitterroot. Fire, fire. So that's something that we're gonna get into. And for the last part, just so we can transition to the next part, as of this week, as of this recording, 2 days or a day from now, John Wick Chapter 4 is going to drop out. So now we're going to have to transition to paying our respects to Lance Riddick, something that was completely just like surprising and sad. He passed away due to natural causes at the age of 60. I know when you messaged me about that, it just like completely caught me off guard because like just being on break for such a long time, I was like relaxed. And then just seeing that, knowing that John Wick is a movie that we've both been hyped about for years. So if there's anything you want to say about that.
Yeah, I just want to say like Lance Reddick, age 60, passed away, and I was just in shock because not only was he Charon from John Wick, he was also Cedric Daniels in The Wire. And that was where I first that's why I was first introduced to the man. And
Mm-hmm.
then of course he was in Fringe, and then he also voiced one of the characters in Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he was one of the main guardians in that, but he was
And he another character in Horizon.
yeah, so he pretty much like you knew him based on like his look, but also his voice and his baritone nature, and he was just amazing actor. And man, just to see him go out like so early, it was just heartbreaking. So yeah, I just want to pay my respects to him and just know that like I'm gonna hop on Destiny 2 later because I hear that like apparently they're gonna pay their respects to him in game. So I'm gonna be doing that later today.
Yeah, it was just crazy to think about. And then what I thought about is that like we literally saw him at Comic Palooza like a year ago, like being in the same room with him, and like,
Yeah.
dude, that is just like so cool. And the way he composed himself was just like incredible and magnetic to see on screen. So just like prayers for his families and prayers for him. So yeah. Coming back, so now we're going to get into our Shazam Fury of the Gods review. Is there anything you want to do to the pre-chat, or you just want to jump in?
All right. So firstly, I just want to let you guys know that this is not based on any like specific comic art. And in terms of the villains, they're actually villains exclusive to the movies. So they're not like comic based at all. In fact, they're more based on actual Greek mythology. So if you're a big like Greek mythology nut like I am, so you knew like what path they were going to go on for certain characters based on the personality on in the actual arc. So yeah, that's pretty much all you really need to know before jumping in.
All right, so can you kick us off with the recap?
All right, so kicking things off, it starts off just pretty much on pure demon timing, with our two main villains, Hespera and Calypso, yes, who just break into a museum in order to retrieve the broken staff that was used by Sylvana, the villain from the first Shazam movie that Shazam actually broke. So they pretty much got that, and they killed everybody in the not in the theater. Ooh, that'd been crazy. Not in the theater, but in the thing, and then go like in the museum, and then they pretty much just they leave. Smash cut to Shazam Billy Batson actually like in a pretty hilarious therapy session with the therapist with the guy who played the director in The Boys. So I was like, no, you should not be talking to him. But essentially, like this is actually pretty real for him. Like one of the real moments of this movie was the fact that like, Billy was basically talking about like how he's facing imposter syndrome, which in case you don't know what that is, that's basically whenever you feel like you're pretty much not worthy, you're not like you're not capable of doing the great things that you are capable of. Like you feel like you're an imposter in your own body. And pretty much the guy just started talking like, hey, like imposter syndrome typically goes based on the trauma in your life. And like, so what trauma did you have? And of course, Shazam's talking like, hey, like all the abandonment that he basically faced in his whole life and how his current family kind of wanted to spread out and do their own thing, which making him feel like he's about to get abandoned again.
Mhm.
So, and that's pretty real. That's pretty real, especially coming from a kid. Like true abandonment issues. Like he's not a kid. He's like 17 in this movie, going on 18. But yeah, so him and all of his family, like it's kind of like even though the Shazam family, they're still superheroes, they feel like they're slowly drifting apart from one another. They're trying to do their own things in life, even while trying to be superheroes. In fact, like Freddy's, like he's going out trying to be a superhero on his own, which goes against the one rule that apparently they put in place, which is everybody's a superhero or nobody's superheroing.
Mhm.
And you see that on full display as they saved everybody from a bridge, and you just see everybody in some humorous actions, like Billy saving a woman who was playing "I Need a Hero" on the radio, or how what's her name, the black girls. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of her name at the
Bro,
moment.
I'm not doing any names in this review. Just keep going.
Actually, you're right, but she like ends up saving just a bunch of kids, or save a bunch of kittens, and then ends
Mhm.
up stealing one of them. But either way, you're just pretty much seeing like what the new family is doing and how they're basically coping with being heroes and seeing separation between them all.
Yeah, so just with that, I think what you mentioned was really poignant about just like the imposter syndrome. I think that was like a real point in this movie. I'll talk about just like the heart of the movie when we get done with our entire review. But with that, him being a kid, like he was literally raised in the foster system. And like in the first movie, we see that like this entire time he thought his mom was waiting for him and lost him, but she actually abandoned him. So he has to deal with that. And then just like in the movie, like people going their separate ways. And trying to become themselves, the oldest one, she wanted to go to college, but kind of got held back from that. Freddie, with him having his condition and being able to be a superhero, like obviously he would want to be the superhero form of himself, and just like different aspects of that people growing was really cool. So with that, we skip to school, and essentially like Freddie is putting on the Riz onto this new character, and my goodness, his Riz was immaculate.
Oh my goodness, my boy. I was like, bruh, well, hold on, let me take notes because my guy was the Riz was strong. It was too strong to where he was able to bag Anne.
Yeah. So just with that, like obviously if you've seen the trailer, you knew that Anne was like with the ops, but I wasn't sure as they told the story if she already knew Freddie was that and was trying to betray him, or if she was just trying to get close so she could get to the heroes. But essentially, like he stands up for her against bullies, gets beat up, she really appreciates it. And then flipping that, I believe the next key point is that Billy, he had a dream that and this was really funny, that he was on a date with Wonder Woman. But we also see that the wizard, the Shazam wizard, is being held hostage by Hespera
Daughters
and
of
Calypso. Yeah, by the daughters of Atlas, and they get him to fix the staff. And the staff was used to like essentially create a dome around the world of the gods to keep them trapped and separate the realms. So then he speaks to Billy in his dream, which was a funny scene. Like my theater was dying laughing when his face was on Wonder Woman's body. But he essentially warns them that they're coming. You're an idiot for breaking the staff, even though he had a good point in breaking the staff. Like there's no way he could have known that the worlds were separated because of that.
exactly. But
So just yeah, with that, essentially fast forwarding, Freddie is still putting the Riz on, and they have a talk on top of the school building, like every high school anime romance, and then her sisters pull up after he after he becomes his superhero form. They hit him with the staff magic, and then he becomes his usual self again, and they kidnap him. And then it turns out that, okay, the staff can grant and obviously take away the powers. So he gets taken away, and all of Philadelphia gets put under a dome, and the Shazam family can't get to him. So,
yeah, so going on from there, of course, Freddy is trapped with the wizard Shazam, and they're trying to figure out a way to, escape. And then in the meantime, like the Shazamly, they're in their lair and in the Rock of Eternity, where they're trying to come up with a plan in order to like free Freddy and also stop the Daughters of Atlas from running roughshod on all of Philly. And with that, of course, they're talking about like how they end up meeting a sentient pen that knows all information. It's my boy Steve. My boy Steve is out here being the goat of the movie, and and Steve basically like lets him know like, hey, these are your powers. The powers that you have were actually stolen from the gods by Atlas, and the Daughters of Atlas, like they were gonna get those powers, but Wizard Shazam took the staff and then gave the powers to Billy, and of course Billy thereby gave it to the family.
mhm.
And from there, they're also talking about how Billy's like not wise at all because he doesn't have the like apparently he doesn't have the wisdom of Shazam of no the wisdom of Solomon
Solo man.
of Solo Man. My bad. Sorry, I mispronounced. But yeah, so they end up coming with a scheme to try to get him to get Freddy back by essentially telling them like, hey, we'll trade our powers for Freddy and just meet us here at this time, and then we'll just do an even trade and also free everybody in Philly. And then of course on the other side, they end up bring Calypso and everybody end up bringing Freddy and the Wizard in front of them, try to get like, hey, who's the champions? Who's the Shazamily?
Mhm.
And Calypso, like, she uses her ability, which is like she whispers in somebody's ear whatever command she wants to do, and then they do it.
Speaking in tongues.
Yeah, yeah, parcel tongue, if you feel me. But in contrast to everybody else, Freddy is actually like resisting,
Mhm.
and that's kind of like a plot point that's actually going to get brought up later because like when she does it, like it basically like breaks your mind while it's happening,
Mhm.
but he's actually like resisting, and she's like, whoa, 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 hold on, what's going on here? um and then of course Anne, she fully got rizzed up by Freddy, so
Yeah.
she ends up freeing both of them and then letting them like, hey, here's how you escape. And then at the same time, that's when Calypso and Hespera end up pulling up on our boys on the
Mhm.
Shazamly, and unfortunately Paco got taken out. His powers is gone, and Shazam Billy, he got taken out pretty swiftly. The
Mhm.
the L's that he took this movie was pretty
Immaculate.
staggering, but actually he ended up putting a pretty good fight with Hespera along
Mhm.
with Mary and Black Girl. But unfortunately, like,
Making good.
yeah, Megan Good. Let's just call her Megan Good for the rest of the movie. I'm gonna do that. But yeah, so he ends up beating her, but unfortunately, they're playing checkers while Hesper and Calypso, they're playing chess out here. The Eisen moves were insane, like because she actually ends up escaping from the prison that they put her in inside the Rock of Eternity, which I'm like, boy, no way, y'all. And in the lair, that's crazy.
And we have to say, like, throughout the course of this section of the movie, it's revealed what their plans are. So they essentially are playing Assassin's Creed and they need the apple to see. So they need the seed of, I forgot what the name of it.
The
It's
golden
essentially an
apple.
apple, the golden apple. So with that, they can plant it in the they need to plant it in the Garden of the Gods to kind of revive their homeworld. But Calypso wants to plant it in the world of the humans, which it's not meant to be in the human realm. So it'll essentially grow monsters and destroy the human realm. So with that, Hespera gets the apple, takes it back to goes through some of the doors, which was a plot point to her realm and the labyrinth. Uh, Freddy and the wizard have just like the funniest relationship in this movie, but he's able to steal the apple. Billy pulls up as Shazam, and then a chase ensues. Essentially, they take the apple. They go back to their the what is the Eternity Rock, Rock
The
of
Rock of
Eternity.
Eternity.
So they go to the Rock of Eternity. The dragon that we see is a guardian of the garden, pulls up, attacks their house, and then it's revealed to their foster parents or separate, however you want to say that, foster parents, that they are all heroes. And again, chase ensues. The oldest of them gets her powers taken, and that's how Calypso is able to grab the apple. She plants it, and then mythological monsters run amok in Philadelphia.
Yep, and just a little bit before that, before the dragon decides to go. No, actually, no, it's right after the dragon and everything. So Calypso plants everything, and basically Anne is in distraught because like the whole world is basically getting taken over, and the tree is looking kind of wilted, looking kind of corrupted, if you will. And she basically like convinces Hesper, like, hey, Hesper, this is not how we supposed to do this.
Mhm.
But of course, Calypso being a whole monstrosity, and again, Calypso played by Lucy Liu, and she still but yes, like she ends up taking out her own sister Hespera, and then takes away all of Anne's powers,
Mhm.
essentially turning her into a human. It's like, nah, all right, you ain't with me, then you my enemy.
Mhm.
On her Anakin Skywalker type beat. and then
Yes.
goes and tries to run roughshod on the rest of the world. So she ends up doing exactly that. The Shazamly, and of course, while all that's happening, Billy and everybody, like, they're all reunited,
Mhm.
and essentially Billy tells the wizard, like, hey, take these powers away from me. Like, this is the only way that everybody can be saved. And then the wizard's like, no, the only reason I gave you your powers is that even though you may not be wise in the head,
Mhm.
you wise in the heart. Because you know exactly what needs to be done, even if you are perhaps the dumbest one out of all of us. And those are not his words. That's just me paraphrasing, but that's
Mhm.
basically what he said.
Mhm.
And essentially, like, he goes and before he leaves off, because he knows exactly what he needs to do. So there's a three-pronged plan. You got the Shazamly, well, all the human Shazamly, because none of them have their powers anymore.
Right.
They're pretty much going to like, try to save as many people as possible and try to recruit the unicorn, which is the only thing capable of taking care of all these mythological creatures.
The King of Beast.
The king, Kang, Ang, not Jonathan Majors. Uh, and with that, and then that's their plan. Billy's plan is the fact that, like, while he was fighting, he saw that pretty much the dome pretty much redirects his lightning and keeps it as kind of an energy source,
Mhm.
and that the staff is also charging itself up like a battery with his lightning. So he's like, okay, the main way to destroy this tree, save everybody, is if I can get the staff and use my lightning to basically destroy the tree.
Mhm.
So that's their two-pronged plan. And then it gets to the point where Calypso ends up, like, everybody of course gets separated again, because you got the unicorn crew who ends up like who ends up getting the unicorn with the taste the rainbow.
Literally Skittles. But that's actually, I really like how they did that because it was a plot point throughout the entire movie.
Yes,
So,
it was literally one of those things, like, it was just there. That was pure Chekhov's gun. Like, it was
yes.
there throughout the movie, and we just paid no mind to it until she pulled out the Skittles for the
And
pulled out the Skittles for the unicorn. I'm like, oh, nah,
literally said Taste the Rainbow. My theater was cracking up.
we were dying in my theater when that happened. But then, of course, Freddie, he of course, again, rizzed up Anne, and Anne was out because, like, while that was happening, they end up sharing their first kiss. And also and then also Billy end up calling his foster mother his actual mother, which I'm just like, oh man,
Yeah, I
be a
got
real
all
shame.
from my theater.
I was like, oh, be a real shame if something happened to one of them.
Mm.
But yeah, so yeah, and then of course, like, Freddy's going to go find Anne, who ends up getting separated from everybody, and he finds her facing off against Calypso and the dragon, which I'm just like,
Mhm.
bruh. So so of course, like, that's happening, and then of course he's using, like, his mental fortitude to fend off against the dragon for enough time for Shazam to get there, and he gets the staff from her, and then oh yeah, but right before then he ends up finding Hespera
Mhm.
and manages to talk no jutsu her into helping. Uh, well, firstly, he did end up, like, bringing her back to life with the good old
Yes.
clear, bam,
Defibrillation, yeah.
and gets her back to life. And he pretty much, like, convinces her, like, hey, your sister out here doing the most, so we need some assistance.
Hmm.
And we know, like, my strategy is basically gonna blow up the entirety of the city. So, and then it cuts to them in their new fight where they're in the stadium where they
Hmm.
planted the tree in the first, where Calypso planted the tree, and then Hespera just closes the dome into to just cover the stadium
Yes.
where the final fight happens.
So two quick things with the dragon essentially like breathes fear. So why it was so important with Freddy is that like Because early in the movie, when it pops up, him and the wizard both can't move because of the dragon because it emits fear. So like it forces you not to move essentially. And so with that, when he did it later in the movie with Anne, it was like a really cool moment showing how mentally strong Freddy is. And then also the reason that Billy had to bring back Hespera is because Hespera is like, yo, this is not our plan, Calypso. We were supposed to plant it in the garden. I have to stop you. This is like not what the tree is meant to be doing. And then the dragon, uh, yeah, let's just say that she joined the Rengoku crew.
My goodness. Yep,
So
she got
yeah,
donutted.
and we get
But
to the fight.
oh yeah, so the final fight, you have the dragon breathing like mystical fire onto Shazam, which is burning him, and and really like it's turning his Shazam suit black, kind of like a certain Dwayne the Rock Johnson. But of course, like Billy, he's using his lightning and basically just shooting it all wildly, kind of like a certain Hellzone grenade from a certain other black man named Piccolo. But then, and of course, he's doing everything. Of course, Freddy, he's like, no, do not do this. But but Billy, he knows what he has to do, and he uses the staff along with all the lightning he built up to blow up the tree
Mhm.
and but unfortunately blew up the tree, killed Calypso, and yeah, and himself. He
Yeah.
pulled a Majin Vegeta on that one, and of course, by that point, Hespera dies, and when
Mhm.
she does, the dome dissipates as well. So she stayed alive long enough to see her sister get clapped, which I'm like, dang, that's kind of wild. And
Yeah.
then it cuts to the ending of the movie where essentially the entire Shazamly they find Billy dead. Of course,
Like
it's
legit dead too, people.
yeah. This ain't no fake out. Like he is gone. Like he is dead, and they have a funeral. It's like Logan. So they have to bury him. Like everybody crying, everybody in distress. I'm just here like, called it.
Nice.
But then bury him, and it's like the only way to fix the entire world is if there's a spark in the in the staff, which can only be ignited by a god, and they're all the gods are dead, right? But then somebody
Mhm.
shows up.
Bum, 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 bum.
Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman herself, shows up.
Mhm.
He pulls up out of nowhere. She got Billy's letter. She got Billy's love letter to her, and she got his Riz letter, and she sparks up the staff, which revives the entire Rock of Eternity to be lush and green,
Mhm.
but also has the side effect of bringing Billy back to life.
Yep. And restoring Anne's powers.
Yes, and brought Anne back to godhood. I'm like, dang it, we can't let it. We can't let them get away with this. Let the heroes die. No, no.
Please.
But of course, everybody happy. And Billy's in complete shock because of that. Like, wait, hold up. I've been dead for a full like few minutes and get y'all bury me. That's wild. And then you see Bay over there with the staff. Like, oh, whoa, hold on. Wait.
Mhm.
He had to rizz himself up. You know, had to get a spider out of his mouth because again he was buried. Uh,
Yes.
and the Rizzing was there, but unfortunately, he's not Freddy. Uh,
Or who's the other guy? Who's the one that she's in love with? Steve?
Bruce.
It's not Steve.
Well, it was Steve Trevor, but not
Yes,
Bruce.
that's what I'm
It's
saying.
Bruce.
Oh.
It's Bruce. If you've seen Snyder League, it's Bruce. It's Bruce Wayne. Bruce
Mhm.
Wayne got ultimate Riz. But
Yeah.
that's a story for another day. But Peter Parker even got the better Riz. But I'm gonna talk about that right now. But yeah, so essentially like she tells like, hey, keep your head up, kid. And like, keep your head up, be the god that you meant to be. And then hey, I may see you again. I'm just like,
Gotta shoot your shot, Kings.
yep. Like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But yeah, and that's basically the end of the movie. apart from the two post-credit scenes, obviously, the first one being where old girl from Peacemaker, yeah, and then old boy from the Suicide Squad movie coming
Mhm.
to recruit Billy Batson for the Justice Society,
Yes.
not the League, the Society. Which I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, yo, and then Billy's like, man, Justice Society, that's a terrible name. Actually, I can come up with a better name, the Avengers Society. And I'm just here like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
my
can they even do that?
my theater was crying.
I'm just here like, wait, can they even say that? Can they even
Mhm.
do that?
I mean, Avenger is a word, so.
Avengers for you say Avengers and you're talking about a team name.
Mm.
Nah, I'm like, hold up. If W listen, Disney, I'm gonna need you to just write that check. Write that check. Just go ahead, buy up WB. Just buy them all. Buy everybody, Disney. I know you the mouse. You got the money.
Right.
And then the last scene is with Savannah, the previous villain of the movie, end up meeting with Dr. Mind, who was the worm from the first movie, and they saying like, "Oh yeah, nah, we need you to go run Billy's pockets," and that's the movie. Oh yeah, and then
That
also at the end, Freddie and Anne are together. They a couple fully rizzed up.
all right, so to important business. So we talked about in the romance episode about people going back in time to or like being reincarnated, but they still have like their older selves. There's an issue with Anne and Freddie's relationship.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. Oh yeah, let's talk about it because
Now, yeah, go ahead.
Freddie, he a high school kid. I would
Yes.
probably say around like 15, maybe 16. Oh
No,
wait,
he said he's a month younger than Billy.
yeah, I would say, oh wait, he's like a month younger. So he's like 17, 16 if at the latest, at
Mhm.
the earliest, depending on birthday.
Mhm.
So that's that, right? But then if you remember, Anne is a daughter of Atlas. So she's over 6,000 years old. But apparently that doesn't matter to either of them. The Riz was apparent. The Freddy Riz is that strong that he can bag 6,000 years,
A god. So yeah.
a whole god. I'm like, and then of
Even though
course, you got Billy, who's 17 going on 18, trying to Riz up Diana.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, and even the mom was like, "What's if my son's an older woman?" Which I will have no comment on. So let's continue.
Oh man, we're not gonna talk about me. We, we're not talking about me today.
Moving on.
Moving all the way on, but let's go ahead and talk. Let's talk about what we liked about the movie.
I really like this was a legit funny movie. Like I know with the Marvel movies, like I go, oh, it was a bit forced. It was funny, and then like the Justice League, as you like to call it, where it's like, oh, switching up the tone to be like funny, but like because there are kids that are superheroes, so like their childish nature makes sense for the characters, and seeing them the Shazamly like acting in such a way. And also just like the part I forgot what their nickname was. It was like the disasters of
Oh,
Philadelphia or something.
the the Philadelphia fiascos.
Yes, because they are just like horrible at like being clean with superheroes, which makes sense as kids to do that. So that was something that I really liked. One thing that was slightly different from the first one, which it makes sense because like obviously with sequels they always tend to go bigger, but there was less heart in it. Like the part with the mom, I feel like in the first movie would have been like a recurring thing. Like in the first one, he didn't call her like in the first like 10 minutes of the movie, he didn't call her mom. He just called her by her first name. And then by the end of the movie, he called her mom. I feel like in the first movie, that would have been a plot point throughout with it. So like there was less heart in it, but there was like a lot of action. They kind of got to the shenanigans, which I really like.
Yeah, and one thing I also like going to the part where you're talking about their childish nature is that all the adult actors who have to play the kid versions, they really did that well, especially Megan Good, who has to play like a whole 6-year-old girl in an adult body. Megan Good, hey, come at your boy. Just know that my phone number is, but
I feel like we need to change this to the Simp City podcast.
look, this. it ain't gonna be the first time. It ain't gonna be the last. But yeah, and then another thing is just kind of like how dangerous the enemy, well, the antagonists are, and the fact like, hey, these are antagonists from actual Greek mythology, so their whole mentality is just like, yeah, it's kind of in line with their Greek roots, and then loving the like all the Greek creatures that you see in there. You see a whole manicore, you see an orc, you see a fury in there. I'm like,
Mm.
and then of course you got the Kang unicorn
Yes.
doing the absolute most.
Hmm.
And finally just seeing like actual consequences for all the superheroes like action. So
Yes.
like you see the collateral damage, you see how like Billy's action at the end of the first movie basically led to all of the second movie happening.
Right.
And you see like him just going like, okay, uh I basically need to redemption equals death this one
Mhm.
until until of course Bay decides to come in and revive him. Again, Gal Gadot, if you watching my
We
thoughts.
gotta stop. Yeah, wait till the John Wick podcast because it's about to be bad.
Oh, oh, nah. I'm gonna be good with the John Wick one because that the only Riz I'm gonna need for that one is my Riz of guns. Uh, I'm just gonna be a whole menace that one. Just
Oh, I mean, man, but we're not talking about that. That's next week. That's next week.
yep.
So, anything else you got?
Yeah. I mean, just how real the whole family was, and just love seeing how Mary just basically trying to be an adult and how she went out to a whole party and
Mhm.
showed up completely hungover. I'm like, yep, that's about right.
Yeah. So, one other thing to pull is like just like initial story of like letting others grow. So learning to let others go so they can grow was a really big thing. Like I think that Billy learning that and being like, okay, I recognize you, Freddie, as like a hero. Okay, all my other siblings, like you can be your own people. And it's not fair of me to keep holding on so tight. So I think that was a big thing to do it. And I think just like with Shazam, it's a movie. It did try to go a bit bigger than like obviously the first one because you have to, but then it knows what it's supposed to be. So I really appreciated it for that.
Yep, for sure. But so what's next?
It was actually interesting because I was thinking about like I couldn't watch this movie without the context and the shadow of hey, this entire DC universe is about to get rebooted after the Flash movie, but there's also like two other movies that are coming out that may or may not be depend on the timeline this year. So it's really weird you can't I didn't know like okay, is Zam going to be in the future or not? But one thing that I did see at the end, it said it's a Peter Safran production or movie. And like obviously we saw the Annabelle doll. And Peter Safran is
Mm,
either, if you want to call it number two or 1B in the DC universe. So if he wants to save it, he can easily do that because he's right up there with James Gunn in the decision making process.
yeah, he could. He could make this one like a whole separate universe that appear in the multiverse because we're in multiverse version of the reality now. It could
Mhm.
also be just where like he could be where like the Shazam movies are still in continuity with the new verse because if you think about it, in the first one, the only thing you know is that Superman appears, but you only saw him from the neck down.
Mhm.
So easily, like that could be any Superman suit.
Mhm.
And then when it comes to Wonder Woman, I mean, if you can like that one's a bit more dicey, but hey, if you bring baby girl to the new reality, then there you go. Uh, but yeah, like yeah, there's just that aspect of it as well. But in terms of seeing the future of Shazam, I'm just like it it could go either way, and depending on
Yeah.
just how the box office pretty much reviews this movie.
Yeah, because like obviously this is a movie that was made before the DC decision. So, but they could have cut out the first scene with the two people from Peacemaker that pulled up. So, like, but the Justice Society is something that's exactly explicit, not explicit, specific to Black Adam. So we know Black Adam isn't going to be anytime soon in the DC, the new DC. So it's going to be interesting. But I definitely want to see Doctor. What was the caterpillar's name?
Dr. Mind.
Doctor Mind. I definitely want to see him. Like since they teased that twice already, but it'll be interesting. I do want to see Shazam continue. I know that Zachary Levi needs to stay off of Twitter and make the decision easier for James Gunn.
I'm not even gonna say nothing about that. But I do want to see them continue. I need to see Zachary Levi and Dwayne The Rock Johnson kind of need to butt
Please,
head.
please. I do not want to see Black Adam and Superman. I want to see Black Adam and Shazam. That is literally the two ops of each other. Come on.
Yeah, it's like, come on, Black Adam was his villain. It's like, how can you do a super villain movie without any mention of the superhero Venom?
Yep.
But I mean, and then you just gonna tease us that the two of them are gonna meet and they never do it. No Way Home. But I'm not talking about Marvel. We're talking DC. But yeah, I think it's about time. Like since we basically talked about everything, we got everything set up. So now let's get into these awards.
Mm-hmm. All right. So for our first award, one that we have been talking about extensively, it's a new one. It is called the Rizzler. So it goes to a character that displayed immaculate Riz to hit way above their weight class in every foreseeable way. And that can go to none other than Freddie Freeman, who rizzed up and from day one, just even as himself, he didn't do it as like his Shazam form, but just like to be himself, to have bravery and courage, knowing that he was going to get beat up by the bullies, to know that just like, hey, I am brave, and those like displays of it throughout. And for her to like completely fall head over heels for him without even, he really didn't try that hard, to be honest with you. But yeah, you have to come up, Freddie, the Rizzler.
The Risley Bear.
Yes.
Just get this award, sir. And I'm
All
taking
right,
notes. All right, so our next award is the Rock Lee drops the weights. This is the moment where a character pretty much just levels up a bit and decides to just go run people's pockets. That goes to none other than Billy Batson at the end of the movie when he got the staff. Because this man, he pulled it all. He decided, all right, this for my family, this for my city. I've seen all the Fast and Furious movies, so I got to show out. And show out he did. He beat the dragon. He beat Calypso when nobody else could. And he killed a whole tree. And he got so much Rock Lee that he even killed himself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so he was like Guy.
Yes! This would be a Guy Goes 8 Gates moment. We're renaming that award just for this one. It's the Mike Guy 8 Gate of Death. So yeah, so that's basically, you know what? Shazam, Billy, come get this award.
All right, for our next one of my favorite awards, it's the Stealing Money Award. So this goes to a character or actor that pops up in a movie unexpectedly for a short period of time and absolutely steals money from it. It can go to none other than Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, who I don't know if she made an appearance in the dream scene, but definitely at the end where she ended up saving Billy Shazam by like just giving the drop of the blood, and she was very receptive to his Riz, but he is underage. So with that, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, please accept this award.
And yes, and my number is still if you wanna come see your boy. But yes, and then our final award is the Op of the Year award. This goes to a person who just exudes pure idiocy, pure degeneracy, pure out-of-pocketness, and just straight hatred for at least one person in particular. This goes to none other than Calypso, Lucy Liu. Because you just decided to be an op not just to the Wizard Shazam, to the champions, to Billion. No, you just wanted to be an op to all of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Your daddy lost his powers and lost his life. Even Hespera was not as cold blooded as you were, which goes kind of in line with your Greek mythology. So I'm not even gonna lie about that. But still, you kind of went out of pocket with that one. You had went out of your way to pilot a dragon whose main thing is fear. Who you think you is, Jonathan Crane? You think you Scarecrow? Oh nah, Lucy Lou, Calypso, come get this award, cause you just out here opping.
I was literally like thinking of that award. I was like, when I was watching the movie, I was like, yeah, off of the year definitely deserves someone. So with that, we can get into the tiers if you want to read them off.
All right, so the tiers is based on a pretty legitimate theme. It's called a Fury. So for the F tier, it's just an eye roll. For a D tier, it's just a childish temper tantrum. For our C tier, you're forced to sleep on the couch. For our B tier, you're actually in a bar fight. For our A tier, you got whole road rage. But then for the S tier, for the top of the top, you're actually the Old Testament God because you just out here with all of the anger and the fury. So yeah, what would you give this movie?
Uh, I would go like a low B tier just because like it wasn't like special, but it was enjoyable. And that's kind of just like what I was hoping for out of the movie. It's just like it kind of hit everything it needed to, like the laughing points and comedy, like it hit, the action was like suitable for what it was. Obviously, like with the Daughters of Atlas, you couldn't really throw hands like that throughout the movie with them. And then obviously like it being like 3-on-6, 3-on-7. So it's, but it was definitely a perfectly like fine movie and give it a bar fight.
Awesome, awesome. I also give it a good bar fight because it is, yeah, it says pretty serviceable. It's pretty good. Does what it needs to do. It like, of course, it doesn't do anything too spectacular, nothing too out of the box to warrant the final two tiers. But at the end of the day, I do like both of them. I do like the Shazam movies. I like it's just a good fun time,
Yep.
and like it's one of those where like, hey, I'll see it I'll see it like again, and then like probably on streaming HBO Max.
Mm-hmm. All
So
right.
yeah,
Yeah. So
so
with
yeah.
that, so with that, we can get into our sponsor for the day.
All right, so for today's sponsor, we have ourselves the Rock of Eternity Museum. If you would like to study different artifacts and different magical objects, come down here to the Rock of Eternity Museum. We have everything from the seven deadly sins to the staff of Atlas, all the way to the infinite doors room, where you're capable of experiencing all types of different locations and different type of realities, all headed up by the best character in your favorite movie, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, Steve. With Steve, he is able to write out any and all messages and answer all your questions, but please make sure to ask him what's the safest door to go through, because we are not liable if you go into the room of no oxygen. So please come visit the Rock of Eternity Museum today.
Well, also, we're not reliable if you step through the green door as well. That's something. That's another day, another time. So with that, I haven't really seen a lot of reviews. I've tried my best to try to avoid any spoilers, which means I like for next week when this week when we watch John Wick, I have to stay off of Instagram completely because I kind of got spoiled with the Wonder Woman thing this week, and I was very upset about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was I literally got spoiled the day before, which was annoying. But with that, I have seen like kind of some up and down reviews like all over the place. A lot of like B tier since thanks for us. And then just like feeding off of the Ant-Man kind of feeling of it. So I just feel like superhero movies are in a weird place right now. So something I wanted to do, one of our favorite segments is Make the Call. And with that, it's combating superhero fatigue. So as usual, me being the fallen Shinigami, I'm going to make the call to the one and only Rogue Jedi and kind of just get some advice, see how we can figure things out. All right, let me dial the number that has been used for Gal Gadot to call him. All right.
Gal Gadot, is this you?
I'm sorry to let you down. It is the fallen Shinigami.
All right, call me back when you're Gal Gadot.
Wait. I really need your help. I really need your help. So I've given you plenty of bags that you could be able to take her anywhere you want to. But with that, I think I need your help one more time. So with that speaking, I work for Disney, work for DC, other studios. We've had a very healthy relationship. You've given some great ideas. I need your assistance one more time.
All right. All right. Well, all right. We'll do that one more
Okay.
time.
Thanks. So, with the resetting of just different universes, I know Marvel kind of took a PR hit in 2022 for some reason. I'm surprised we're still making bank with that with superhero movies. And then also Ant-Man, it didn't get the love I thought it would deserve. And also just with Shazam, kind of the same situation. So I'm thinking, are we dealing with superhero fatigue? And what do we do about that?
Ah man, I think at this point we are in a point of superhero fatigue. Like if you think about it, like with Marvel, you guys have been going crazy with not only just the movies coming out each year, but also TV shows. And then with the DC, you're also slowly getting to the TV show realm, even though you canceled like a bunch of shows just recently. Looking at you, Titans. But and then you're also still trying to do like whole movies and verses and whatnot. I think like yeah, we are definitely in the year of superhero fatigue. If the Oscars was anything to gauge on, and especially with a certain person getting snubbed of their Oscar win, that was surely deserved. I'm just wanted to let you know that like yeah, you're in a way of fatigue, and how do we combat it? I mean the main way is to just maybe take a year off.
Mm,
Like just 1 year of just nothing superhero related. Like, yeah, I know that sounds insane, especially like especially considering like how much bank that each movie gets. But think about it. We've been on this roller coaster since '08 with Iron Man.
mm.
Realistically, since like 1990s with the X-Men, and then it kept going. But it was like a case where every year didn't always have a movie.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like it wasn't like, all right, 1990 you had X-Men, 2000 you had like a different movie because '01 was Spider-Man. No, wait, not '01, '02. My bad, my bad. But but yeah, so like it was like a 2 year break in between, and then you got another movie. So that I know the reason why is because people didn't think superheroes were lucrative. But think about it. Because of the fact that you waited, it gives you more chance to adequately prepare. It gives you more time to like act like to prepare a game plan, and it makes your audience hungry, if you will.
Mm.
Like because right now you're overfeeding them. You're giving them pizza every single day for the past like 20 plus years.
But pizza is good, right?
Pizza's good until there's too much of it.
Mm.
Because then at this point, people are going to start getting sick of pizza and they will never want to eat pizza again. So to combat this, you need to just chill out on the pizza for right now. And in this case, like in this case, just superhero movies in general, like Marvel, DC, need y'all just chill out, just wait, make like just 1 year of just nothing, just 1 year of like no activity from like superheroes, nothing like that, because both of y'all got properties that you can easily use to substitute that in. Marvel, I mean, yeah, Marvel slash Disney, y'all got Star Wars, y'all straight. WB, I need to look into what y'all got, but
We got the Lord of the Rings that we're bringing back, baby.
oh right, oh yeah, y'all are bringing that back.
Harry Potter. We in talks.
Yeah, in theory. And wait, don't y'all have John Wick too?
Oh, yes. Coming out next week. So get ready.
Oh yeah, so y'all said. So just as I said, in my personal opinion, just wait at least 1 year, maybe two, and then come back out and just start slanging and dangling with movies.
All right, so you know that we have some dates already set. We put out our calendar. You know, Comic Con is a big event that we announce to people. So the dates might be set hard to move. How do we? Is there a way that we can structure the movies that will also be different that might help?
Okay, so I guess like a main thing of that is to go against the expectations. If you know a movie is like a certain way, completely flip it, completely flip it around. So, for example, if you're dealing with like something dark like Batman, you may not like maybe the next move, like something like the sequel to the Batman. Maybe you don't have to go full dark for that one. Maybe you can do
Hmm.
something like either lighthearted with some dark moments in there, or make it or just do something completely out of the box. Like maybe adapt somebody who hasn't been adapted before, or adapt like a well-known, very famous arc, but do it pitch perfect.
Mm.
Like I want to like if you want to do like an arc like for the Batman, the Killing Joke.
That's a difficult one in the year 2023, my friend.
Look, I understand, but did we not just see you, the show?
That's fair.
And then I know you see like how Joker 2 is apparently going to be a musical. Like that's a way to be out the box.
Hmm.
Just don't do the same thing every time. Do something different each time, and make or or another thing is you make a movie but have the superhero elements be secondary. So make it like all about this one thing, but then like and then the superheroing is just in the background.
Like a
That
Spider-Man 2 almost.
yes. Like Spider-Man 2, like Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance, even though that was a terrible movie, like the direction of it was horrible, but the premise of it, because you don't see Ghost Rider for a good number of the movie, so that way when you did, but yeah, so like have it to where the superheroes like not really superheroing, but dealing with normal everyday stuff.
That works. That works. So, thanks a lot for just your help. For your consulting fee, which island do you want for your date? We can buy that for you. I'll talk to Peter and Kevin to get that set up.
All right, so for my private island, right? I want it, no, I want all of Madagascar.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that would be a good place to go. And then have James Gunn call up Gal Gadot for me. Send her my information. In fact, and then have him also call up Megan Good as well. I need both of their information. Send me all the contact info, and then I'll be back with y'all eventually.
We'll talk. We'll talk. Thanks for your help again.
Hmm.
All right. So with that, I think we are completely on the same wavelength with that because I was thinking what you need to do is like take a year off. I know it can't happen. Like just if we're sticking with DC, what's next? Literally this year, it's the Flash movie, which comes out June, July. Then we have Blue Beetle, which is August, and then we have Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. And we don't know if any of those movies are going to be in the new DC like universe or if any of those characters are going to be in the new DC universe. So
Well, we
that's
know
difficult.
the Flash is basically what's gonna start the new one.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, but we don't even know because I know like in the first Flash trailer, not the one that came out during the Super Bowl, there were other Flash characters in there. Like I believe a Wally West, and then I know there was a female Flash as well, in like the original teaser trailer. And then in this one, the new trailer that came out, it's like two berries. So that's going to be very interesting to see. I know they were like they wanted to do reshoots during the craziness that happened, so I don't really know what to expect from that movie. But you're completely right. So if we stick with just DC and the MCU, going from like '08 to now, that is a minimum of like 30 movies, 30 to 40 movies just between those two. But then if you go back to 2000, then that's about maybe 50 movies, like 50 to 60. And then if like just with yeah, if you add like the X-Men, which is Fox that now got bought out, and then Sony and Fox, those movies are either terrible, excellent, or meh. Like there is no like, oh, it's decent. It's literally like that. And then if you keep going, then you have, like you mentioned, the TV shows. So if you want to, I wasn't even thinking like the CW universe at first, but we have Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, other ones that came out. And then if you like think about the Netflix series, then the also the MCU on Disney Plus, and then also what is it? The one that used to Inhumans, and then also Agents of Shield. Like that is like over 100 S projects that we've had to like kind of watch in like the past 20 years or so. And it's like, oh, it's just a lot, you know?
Yeah, yeah, as I said, it's a bunch, and in order to like get all like the full experience of the movies, like you have to go so far back and
Right.
start at like a certain point, and you have to try to catch up. And if you're trying to do it with TV shows as well, it's just like,
It's
nah,
too much. Yeah.
it's too much at this time. That's the same problem that they had in the comics, which is why like the Ultimate Marvel exists in the first place. Try to have a new beginning with no previous baggage.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Yeah. So with that, yeah, I definitely would love them to take a break, but obviously, like we do a podcast, and we need, well, not we need, we're creative people, but we use this content, their content, to create our content. So just with that, it kind of builds off like that. So it is what it is. So moving forward, we are going to get into our Woman Creator of the Week.
all right. So for my woman creator of the week, it's the one and only Abigail Mendoza. She's an amazing like podcaster. She's a member of the KLC Press. And it says she's a podcaster. She's part of the Ghost Spider Groupies, which is all about everything considering Spider Gwen and of the Earth 65. And her entire podcast is just based on that and just based on like her experiences and whatnot. And she's an amazing friend of mine. We're one of the four corpsmen of the KLC press. So yeah, of course I had to shout out her channel. You can find Ghost Spider Groupies on all podcast platforms. And then hey, we're also starting up a podcast together called the Vanish Podcast. So hey, there you go.
Is that a guess for Across the Spider-Verse?
Maybe.
All right. Yeah. So with that, now we can get into our recommendations and plugs. So some quick housekeeping for what's kind of moving forward. So next week we are going to do our John Wick Chapter 4 movie review. That's going to be kind of heavy now, just considering what we talked about earlier in the movie. So we'll try to keep it as light as possible. But yeah, definitely, again, rest in peace to Lance Reddick. Then we have our OVA. It might be another mailbag. If you want to send in mailbag questions, we can, but we're going to have we're just really going to have fun with that episode. And then to wrap up season 2, we're going to have our Super Mario's Brothers movie review. So any
Yeah.
recommendations you got?
All right, so my main recommendation is of course you go watch Shazam as well as Shazam 2. Shazam can also be found on HBO Max. And if you want to see like other like Shazam level properties, there's Batman Superman Public Enemies, which features Black Adam in there. So if you want to watch more Shazam content, there's the Justice League Unlimited episode called Clash. It's episode well, it's the only episode where Shazam, then called Captain Marvel, which is actually referenced in the Shazam Fury of the Gods movie, featured prominently. Young Justice also has Shazam featured in there pretty regularly. And then there's the DC animated movies universe, that starts with Flashpoint Paradox all the way through to Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, in which Shazam is featured prominently in all of them, as
Mm-hmm.
he's a founding member of the Justice League in that movie verse. So if you want to watch more of him, just watch those movies. Okay, again, everything I mentioned is all on HBO Max because DC.
Yes, so you kind of covered everything. If you want to watch Black Adam, that's another one to kind of catch you up with Justice Society. And then also another thing is Peacemaker, just so you can understand the two characters at the end. So with that, we can get into our plugs.
All right. So for our plugs, we have ourselves our Instagram and our Twitter, which is Blurred City 22. And come give us a like and a follow. We have ourselves our YouTube and our Patreon, which is under Blurred City Pod, which is probably one of the platforms you're listening this on. With the Patreon, just give us a few extra cheddar, a few extra bucks, and then you get to see some exclusive episodes that have not been seen before or since. And then of course we have ourselves our email, which is blurredcity22@gmail.com, where you can submit uh your questions for any OVA or mailbag episodes. We could submit like your random fan theories, geek out freakouts, and all of the sundry things and suggestions for episodes. And then we have our Discord, which is linked in our Instagram, and that's where hey you can join the fine community of memes, announcements, and all that good jazz. And then finally, I have my TikTok page, which is under the Rogue Jedi 21, where I post pretty out of pocket content. Of course, I kind of have been on a break myself on that, but hey, I am coming back with a vengeance. So, what about you?
Yes, for my individual author pages, you can catch me at on Twitter at the mad-16, for my Instagram, Mitri underscore dash. And if you want to check out my book, Phantom Pains, The Most Irregular Tale, that is available on Amazon. My sequel, first draft, is almost complete. I am hoping to have that by late this year, early next year. So yeah, now we can just leave y'all with some words of encouragement.
All right. So, my main words of encouragement is that sometimes if you love them, let them go because it's not a good thing. It's actually a very toxic thing to keep what you love just trapped and just stay with you the entire time. Because as people, we're social beings, so we do need interactions not just with one person, but with multiple people. So just don't feel like, hey, if this person's going to go hang out with them, then they're abandoning me because that's a symptom of just abandonment issues, insecurities, and and if so, like, hey, go talk with somebody about it. And that's all I have for that.
Yep. And that's just perfect to perfectly end up the podcast. So, what I'll say, just in light of everything, is it may not be goodbye forever, but we'll just say it's goodbye for now. And that's the Blur City Podcast.
See ya later with Ultimate Riz.